What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wild Nutrition Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Heskett, and this is episode 13. So if you're wondering what happened to episode 12, that started last Friday. So new episode out. Unapologetic Fridays are going to be a new thing going forward. I wanted to do a second episode each week since the start of the podcast. Kind of doing it a little prematurely, but I figured a shorter form podcast would be a good thing where it's going to be 10 to 15 minutes long and it's a little bit more tough love and just telling it as it is rather than these Monday podcasts where I give you a little bit more of the nitty gritty information. I'm a little bit nicer, which is my personality most of the time. But if you want to see the other side of me, that's on Fridays. So every Friday, that's going to be a 10 to 15 minute unapologetic, rough around the edges. There's no editing that goes into it. I literally just record it, rip it, and throw it up there. Lots of F-bombs. So today's episode, we're going to talk about what's your why? What's your purpose? Why the fuck are you trying to improve your health or reach whatever goals you are trying to reach? Maybe that's start a business. Maybe it's make more money. Maybe it's move up in the job. The corporate field, the corporate ladder, whatever the fuck your goal is, why the fuck are you going for it? So it's important to have a purpose or a why, because that's telling you where you're going in your life. Like we always say, like, what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose of things? Guess what? You need, this is kind of that. So what's your why? Why the fuck are you putting effort and time and possibly money, usually money, some way into something? What's your why? And it's important to differentiate your why from a goal. Your goals move you closer to your why or your purpose. Your why is not a goal. It's something to reach. It's the tip top of the mountain. Your goals get you to the mountain. So you set goals to help you reach there. So like having $1 million in the bank account is not a why. Like I want $1 million in the bank account so I can retire early and travel the world. Okay, that's more of a why. So travel the world without any schedule and you can have fuck you money. Maybe that's it. Maybe like why are you losing weight? Because I want to live till I'm 85 and see my grandkids born. Okay. We want to live a long time and you want to be around for your grandkids, or you want to see your great grandkids born. Okay, there we go. That's a why. Lose 10 pounds is not your why. So a goal is different than your why. Now we can figure out your why through using a goal. And it's simple, but it's also not the easiest thing to do. Because it's going to get you a little uncomfortable. So what you want to do is what's called like a 5-6-7 test. So 5-6-7 is you're going to dig down with a goal 5 to or 7 times to figure out what's the deeper meaning of this. So I'll do this a lot of times on sales calls with a person, like, why are you trying to join the program? Like if someone's like, just to lose weight, and I try to dig down deep, usually they're not quite ready for the program. Like if you're not willing to like dig deep here, it's very superficial. You're not quite ready to really invest. And if you take offense to that, prove me the fuck wrong. So we dig down. So we have a superficial goal and there's nothing necessarily wrong, but I want to lose weight. Okay. And you just ask yourself, what's important about you losing weight? I want to have more energy. Okay, cool. What's important about having more energy? This is where it's like, okay, now it's getting a little bit uncomfortable, but I want to feel good in my clothing and I want to be able to play with my kids. Okay, what's important about that? Now we're at 4. I don't feel confident when I wear my clothes to work and then I have to present. I'm more focused on how I'm looking and the way kind of like my stomach sticks out when I'm presenting versus actually like focusing on presenting to people. And I don't have the energy to get up and down and play with my kids. And I want them to have amazing memories. Okay. What's important about that? All of a sudden, now we're at 5. So this is where shit gets really deep. All right, what's important about you being able to present like that and for you to be able to play with your kids? And usually you have to think a little bit and it's okay. Well, I didn't have that as a kid, and I would always hear my friends talking about that, like their parents playing with them and doing that. And I never had that. So I want that. I want those memories for my kid. And I need to move up with work so I can make more money so that we can have vacations that again I didn't have as a kid so that they can have those experiences. Okay. Guess what? What's important about that? So usually you have to think a little bit here. That's okay. But you kind of want to say like the first thing that comes to your mind. So this one's a little bit made up. So I actually have to think about this because I'm using kind of like someone that this is what a lot of clients PwC works with kind of go through. But well, I want to set an example for my kids that when you grow up, like you can do all these things. You don't become like just lazy and you're not able to play around. Like I want to have them have great memories, and then they're excited when they grow up, they can do that with their kids. Then you ask one more time, what's important about that? So all of a sudden you have dug really deep from wait, I want to lose weight to why the fuck are you actually losing weight? Like what's really the really important thing? And it's in there, it's in your head. It's there right now. You just have to dig it out. It's really uncomfortable. Tears have come out when I've done this with people. I've had to give, when I was an in-person coach, had to go and give people hugs because they just like broke down because all of a sudden like those emotional barriers, all those barriers in your head holding this back are gone. And you take that and you write down number 5, 6, and 7 and put it in front of your face someplace because shit gets hard. So whether you invest in a coach or you decide to do this journey on your own, you're investing time. You are going to have roadblocks. You're going to have setbacks. That's normal. Everyone just got through the holiday season. A lot of our clients we put on maintenance programs because they had setbacks. That is fucking normal. It's infuriating, it's frustrating, and it's normal. And guess what? Get used to that. So you need to have a purpose or you need to figure out your why so that when shit gets hard, you can actually take a step back and be objective, change course, and actually take action instead of falling off track like you have done over and over again over the past decade or 2 decades or even 3 decades. That's why you need that, because if your goal is to lose weight, okay, I guess I'm not doing it again this year. If you have a purpose of, I am doing this to set an example for my kids because I don't want them to have a unhealthy relationship with food. I don't want them to have eating disorders like I did growing up. I don't want them to have to worry about their weight or their health. I want them to have health freedom. I need to set that example. You're not going to fall off track. You are going to get back on track. Let me rephrase that. You're going to fall off track and you're going to get right back on it. You're going to go on vacation and come back and you're going to get back on track. You're not going to be like, oh, well, I'll just set an example next year. Well, guess what? There's a big difference between a 4-year-old and 5-year-old developmentally. There's a big difference. Just in the year I've had with, or a little over a year now with Amelia, it's a big fucking difference. Now she's actually noticing shit. So are you going to do that? No, you're going to sit down and you're like, fuck, okay, back on track now. Let's fucking get to work. Set that example. Not to say this is like you can never have fun. No, that's never the thing, but it helps you actually stick to your plan versus like, I just want to lose weight. I want more energy. Yeah, we all fucking do. Like, yeah, look, we all do. There's nothing original about that. What is original is your actual purpose. Like, why are you actually doing this shit? And that's going to go back to a lot of things. I can't tell you what it is because it's individual to every single person. Yeah, there's, that example is someone we try to talk to and help. Most of our clients happen to be parents, so I can dig deep and I kind of know those pain points, because that's who we help all the time. And being a parent myself, I have a lot of those same things. So while I don't necessarily need to lose weight, even though I started my weight loss phase, well, at the time this is recording out, we're going into my official second week. I do want to set a good example. I do want to make sure my daughter grows up and doesn't have an eating disorder. My wife had an eating disorder. I don't want her to have that. I want her to have health freedom. I don't want her to worry about food. So I want her to know, like, as an adult, you can go and do fun things. And they're not, when you're an adult, you diet every January 1st and you get rid of all the fun foods in your house. And you're miserable and you're drinking kale smoothies. And no, fuck that shit. We don't do kale smoothies in this house, by the way. So I want her to have those things. That's why you develop a why, a purpose. I don't want her to go through what many, many women have to go through. And that can change with you. So if you're a parent listening to this, that can change with you. You can be that stop to the generational thing of, well, my mom was this way, my grandmother. Yeah, well, there's a genetic component, but genetics just load the gun. They don't pull the trigger. Your choices, your lifestyle pulls the fucking trigger. Don't pull the trigger. Stop now. And you're going to be able to actually change the next couple generations. Let that sink in a little bit. So once you know your purpose, now we have to actually like achieve goals. So you have a goal. We now have a purpose. So now we have to go back to setting goals. Like, how the fuck are we going to get to our purpose or why, whatever we set, the tip top of that mountain? That's what we paint with our client journey, is like you're climbing a mountain. So at the top, we have this nice scenic view. Maybe there's a winery on top that you're just chilling out and you're relaxing. Everything's fucking awesome up there. So how do we actually go about getting up to that mountain? So we need to set realistic goals. And it goes back to SMART goals. And I always forget the acronym, but SMART is an acronym. It means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant or realistic. I believe it's relevant though, and then time-based. So what that means when we set goal, like, I want to improve my health. It's a very general goal. It's not scary, which is why people want to say it. January 1st, I want to improve my health. Fuck you. Terrible goal. So I want to improve my health. Okay. We can't measure anything. What are we measuring with health? Well, I want to reduce my cholesterol levels to improve my health. Now we're specific. We're also measurable. We can measure that with blood test. Is it attainable? Yeah, you can lower your cholesterol levels. Is it relevant? Well, yeah, cholesterol, and it's correlated with like normal, lowering your cholesterol levels back to normal levels, like the normal range is correlated with better overall health. So yeah, that's relevant. And then time-based, like, how much time do we want to take for that? And that also goes to like achievable, like, is it achievable, attainable? Is it actually, like, I want to lower 100 points in 30 days. Yeah, not going to fucking happen. I wanted to try to lower it 100 points in a year. Maybe that's possible, but maybe it's 50 points. I'm not actually sure, like, what, off the top of my head, I would actually have to double check that. So don't use that as an actual goal. But let's go weight, because that's the most common thing people are going to say. Most common goal set is usually weight. It's either health or weight. So we just tackled health. Let's tackle weight. So I want to lose weight. Cool. How much? 10 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever the fuck it is. Let's use 30 pounds as your goal. Because that's kind of the range. Some people are like, yeah, I want to lose like 20-ish, and you might have more to lose, but 30 pounds would be a really good start for if you have more to lose, or a really, really good thing and hit your goal if you have 30 or maybe even slightly less. You're just like, I'm just not going to keep going. So 30 is that like kind of like middle of the road number. So how much? 30 pounds? Okay. Specific. It's measurable. We can measure if you're 200 pounds and then you're 170, that's 30 pounds. Awesome. Is it attainable? So yeah, everyone can lose weight. Then we go time-based. How fast do you want? So we're going to go to the end. I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Fuck you. No, you're not. Unless you're very morbidly obese. We're talking like 300 plus pounds. And if this is you, yes, you might be able to lose that much weight in 30 days. But for the average person, if you are anywhere in the 200s or anywhere in the hundreds, it is going to be nearly impossible for you to lose 30 pounds in 30 days of body fat. So someone's going to go out and like try to prove me wrong. And yeah, you can do that with reducing water weight and losing some muscle mass and really, really restricting your calories unsustainably. Sure, you can do it and destroy your health in the process or be severely dehydrated. Yeah, you could do that. That's not what if we're talking 30 pounds, I think we're all on the same page when the goal is actually 30 pounds and then keep the 30 pounds off. You're not going to do that if you try to prove it. The point here. So 30 pounds in 6 months, a little bit closer. 6 months is going to be 26 weeks. Okay. It's a little fast. In a year, definitely attainable. Okay, cool. 9 months, realistic. So it's kind of, what is it? The office quote, the reel going around like, how many days? Or what's the timeline or whatever? And it's like 30 days, possibly. Or 1 week, maybe. 2 weeks, possibly. A month, that's more realistic. It's some shit like that. I forget I think it's from The Office, but you see it on Instagram and TikTok all the time. So you need to set a actual realistic timeline that's going to push you a little bit, but is also not so condensed that it's almost impossible, if not impossible. So 6 to 9 months, that's realistic, relevant. So if your goal is, I want to lose weight because I want more energy, I want my joints to feel better, blah, 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 that's all attainable. If you're trying to lose and get shredded, but you want to go out and have girls' night every weekend and hit the bars up, you're going to go on vacations all the time, and you're going to try to maintain this ripped six pack, and you're over the age of 25. Is it really relevant to your goal if your goal is also to like have energy and glowing skin and all this other stuff? Probably not. So that's why you set SMART goals. So we set SMART goals, figure out your purpose, and your purpose can tell you if it's relevant. Like, I want to have energy. I want to set a great example for kids. I want to do all these things. And then you go and just get shredded and you have no energy. You have a super restricted diet. Like, no, that's not in alignment. So it's not relevant to your ultimate goal, your why, your purpose. So we want to make sure that when we're saying going out and setting these goals, what is your purpose? What is your why? And then set goals that move you closer to that, and don't go on like, we can go on side quests around. Yeah, nerds here are going to know this. Like, we're going to go on a side quest and maybe go off and do this thing real quick and then come back, but you're not veering way off course where it's like, whoa, why the fuck did we go all the way over here? Like, we're going to have to backtrack now. Like, it's fine if like your goal is like to do all those things, and then you're like, you hit like your health goals or weight loss goals, and you're like, hey, you know what? Bucket list, I want to compete in bodybuilding competition just once in my life. That's a little side quest. Like, you're going to dip down in energy. You're going to be super restrictive and maybe not set the quote unquote best example, but it's a one-time thing. I'm just going to do it to say I did it, and we come right back. Or I'm trying to improve my health, and well, you party comes up, it's a wedding, and you get drunk. Well, yeah, that's going to happen. I do that for sure. Like, holidays, I drink way more than I should. That's not good for my health. So my goal is to improve my health, and I'm doing this. Yeah, you know what? That's going to be like a month and a half out of the year, and then I'm back on track. So we can do those things, but ultimately you're setting these stepping stones. And nothing ever has to be perfect, because things are going to change along the way. So if you're trying to be like, I don't know if this is actually my like 10-year goal. Okay, like that's completely okay. You can just set a goal for right now. You can set a purpose right now, and it might fucking change. It might change in the future. It might adapt, but chances are usually it just changes a little bit. It's not like completely, like you don't completely change as a person in 3 years. Like, you still have a lot, especially if you're like my age, like 30 plus, you have most of your personality intact. Like, you have these hobbies that you're probably going to keep, Maybe some of them go away, but other ones you're going to keep. Certain things are just you. It's what makes you you. So don't worry about that too much. Just get it done and then set smart goals to move you closer. And then you can adjust in the future. I don't know if this is like my third goal. Cool. Maybe you should get the first fucking goal done then. Next thing is you want to visualize. So we often do this thing and then we set these goals and then the doubt sets in and the imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is fucking normal. It's something you're going to have to deal with that everyone deals with. So if you think that I'm sitting here running a podcast and running a business thinking that I don't have imposter syndrome, I have imposter syndrome every fucking week. I sit in rooms I don't think I deserve to be in. I talk on social media and stuff, and there's a lot of days I don't think I should be there. I have thought about burning the business down more times than I can count. Imposter syndrome is normal. It's just going to be something you deal with. And that's kind of like you growing and you're like, no, fuck it. Like I actually deserve this shit and I'm going to go for it. I'm going to work my ass off to get there. So you need to visualize yourself as that kind of you 2.0, because to get to your why or your purpose, you're not there yet. That's why we're setting it. That's why you're fucking listening to this podcast in the first place. If you made it this far, you realize like the person you are now is not the person you want to be in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. Whatever it is, like you are not that person yet. So you 2.0, you 3.0, whatever the fuck 0.0 you want to make it, you're not there yet. And that imposter syndrome is going to happen, but you're not really going to change that much to you 2.0. There's going to be some changes for sure when you reach your goal, but you're still going to be you. So you want to visualize this identity that you're going to be having and realize that your brain's going to fight you. So your brain hates the unknown. It hates change. It hates it. Well, actually, I'm going to repeat myself here. It hates the unknown. The unknown is scary. Our brain's very primitive in a lot of ways. Like, cool, like you're listening to this through something we've created on probably your smartphone. You literally have a supercomputer that fits in the palm of your hand. Like that was like not that was, you have something more powerful than they had on Star Trek. Yes, Star Trek had the transporters, but they had like basically a walkie-talkie. You have a fucking supercomputer in the palm of your hand every single day of the week. You can look whatever up you want up, and most of the time we spend looking up puppies and random TikTok dances. So, with that being said, you need to visualize what that person you're becoming is. So, oftentimes our self-image right now, if you're not where you want to be, is going to be someone who is, say you need to lose weight. It's going to be, I'm an overweight, unhealthy person. That's your self-image. And that can hurt a little bit. And if it does, kind of good, because that's going to get like, okay, like let's remove that pain. Let's dig that knife out and let's work towards this next self-image. If it's, whatever your current self-image is, you need to destroy that. And that's really fucking scary for your brain. So it's going to try to self-sabotage. And I talked to a client last week about this, of self-sabotage and everything else that you're going to be going through this process. So start visualizing, what does a fit person do? What does a healthy person do? Or what does a business owner do? What does a active person do? Whatever you want to become, think of that. What does a millionaire do? What does a billionaire, like we can go down a rabbit hole. What does an investor do? What does a professional hunter do? What does a professional hiker do? Like it can be whatever you want. Like I use business and I use fitness because I run a health, nutrition, and fitness business. So those are easy examples for me. And generally my clients are weight loss clients. So they're very easy. But if you're listening to this and you have a different goal, like I want to become the best whitetail hunter ever. Okay, what do the current best whitetail hunters in the world do? Okay, where are you at now? Now let's fucking bridge that gap. Let's work towards that. Well, they have food plots. They have this little, okay, What can you do now to start working towards that? Well, I can't buy land. Okay. Do you have a little bit of land? Yeah, I have this little tiny, but it's not big. Let's start planting so you know how to plant shit. Let's start soil testing. Let's start doing all this stuff so that when you do one day have the money to buy this plot of land, you don't have to start learning. You already know, you have that knowledge. You're good to go. So as soon as you buy that land, you can till it up, get it ready, and plant your food plot. And now you have a amazing food plot, way better than any neighbors around. Start bridging that gap now. Don't wait. You want to start a business? Start learning about business now. There's so many free resources on that. Health and fitness, same thing. Like start now. Start learning about macros. Start learning about all this other stuff. There's a lot of shitty information. You're going to have to sift through it. If you want to talk about that, go back to last Friday's Unapologetic Friday about you don't need more free shit, or you invest in yourself. You can either spend the time sorting through everything, trying to do the trial and error, or you can invest in yourself by paying for a mentor. You have to trade something. If you want to talk about, you have to give up some resource. And in modern society, that's money. Like that's just reality. We don't work. You can trade services if you can provide a relevant service, or you can, or attention. That's the other currency right now with social media is you can trade attention. But if you can't give someone else, for example, if you came to me and you're like, I will give you, attention to all my followers if you train me for 3 months, and you had a really, really good email list, a good amount of followers, and we set up a schedule of how often you'd promote, yeah, I would do that for free. Yeah, I'll train you. If you don't have that, okay, cool. You have 150 followers on Instagram and you have no email list. You don't have any attention to trade. So no, that's not to be mean or supposed. That's just, I would be taking a loss, and I have employees to pay to feed their families. So it's not to be mean. It's just that's reality. So you have to have something willing to trade, or a service. If you don't have attention, maybe it's a service that would be really beneficial to me. Oh, you do taxes? You'll do taxes for free, for tax planning for the year for free. I'll train you for a year. Cool. We'll swap that out. You can do that. But if you don't have that, then you don't. The only resource you can give me is money. So you have to invest in something and then start visualizing and bridging that gap. Visualize yourself. Who are you? Who is this person? What does a fit person do? What does a healthy person do? What does a successful person do? Think of those things. Are you that now? Yes, no, sorta. You can say sorta here. There's some gray area. But it's better to give yourself more yeses and nos and more black and white and a few sortas rather than like, yeah, sorta everything. Like, come on the fuck on. Be honest. So what does a fit person do? They work out how many times per week? 6 days a week. Is that realistic for you? No. Okay. But we can bridge that gap. Okay, let's start with twice a week. What does a healthy person do? Well, they don't eat takeout every single day of the week. Okay. Yeah, I agree. They don't. So a healthy person is going to eat out. How often? Maybe once a week. Probably more like every other week or once a month. Okay. So let's start there. Let's start. If you're doing every day, it's going to be really hard to like overturn, but you can try that. But you can be like, okay, well, instead of like once a month, let's try like twice a week. If you're doing it every single day for lunch, let's try twice a week. Let's do that and move on from there and visualize what those persons do and bridge the gap. So visualize all that stuff. And if you don't know, that's where you have to do research and or get someone to help you with that stuff. So that's how you figure out your why. It's really important. We're in 2023. We're now in the official, I believe, what is it? The second week when this thing is coming out. I'm recording it the Thursday prior. Yeah. So it's the 9th. So it's the second week of 2023. If you want to be successful with your goals this year, you need this. So you need to do the 5, 6, 7. And finally, with your why. So I've challenged a couple of people on this when they've sent to me. It needs to follow the sticky note test, which is super simple. should fit on a sticky note. And another way is you should be able to recite it in your head, no problems, which means 1 to 2 sentences. That's it. I've had people be like, send a paragraph. It's like, okay, that's a bunch of goals wrapped into your actual why. Like break it down, like condense it. 1 to 2 sentences. It fits on a fucking sticky note. That's it. You don't do anything else, just a sticky note, and you go from there. So, you know what? I never checked if this was the right mic for today. So hopefully, yes, it is. Awesome. Apologies there. It's like, oh crap. When I recorded Friday's episode, it was the wrong mic at first. I was like, why does it sound like shit? Oh, okay. So sticky note test. First thing to do, what's your goal? You already have your current goal. Like you already have it in your head. If I asked you, what's your goal right now? It already popped up in your head. You already have it. Cool. Now you do your 5, 6, 7 and you write down. And if you're driving, maybe don't write it down right now. Maybe use voice to text to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But number 1 is going to be whatever the fuck your current goal is. And you just ask yourself, what's important about that? 7 times. And it's going to be really hard at 5, 6, and 7. That's where it's down deep. Then you can kind of figure out your purpose from there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Probably going to change over time. But sticky note test, there's your purpose. Stick that someplace in front of your face so you remember it. And then set your goals to help you achieve that. Follow the SMART goals and visualize you as that person who is achieving those goals. What does that person do on a daily basis? Do they work out? Do they get their steps? And I've been slacking on my steps, be honest. Here I am being honest. Steps are my current challenge. Getting to 7,000, 10,000 while working from home and working for like 10 to 12 hours a day. It's tough. I agree 100%. That's my current struggle. So what does this person do? For me, I need to get more walks in. What does a successful person do? Like what is someone, if you're trying to build a business right now, you're working full time and you want to what does that person do where they're making extra money? What are all these things that they need to do? And you just work backwards. What's your goal? Okay. Set the easiest fucking goal you can start to accomplish, easiest task, and just roll from there and just start working on it. That's it. That's today's podcast. That's this week's podcast, I should say. Friday will be an unapologetic Friday. So expect way more F-bombs on that and a little bit less kindness there. So those of you who appreciate this kind of stuff, this kind of podcast where there's some F-bombs, there's not that many. There's a little bit of tough love, but it's more from the heart and more sciencey, nerdy background stuff. Those couple episodes I do that. Maybe don't listen to Fridays. But if you like the tough love stuff, listen to Friday. Or if you like the shorter content where I actually set a fucking timer in front of me, I'm like, oh shit, I'm running out of time. Yeah, listen to Fridays. So we are going to be looking for clients later this month. So we kind of closed up. We're not going to take on much in the way of clients right now when this is released, but we're going to be looking to bring on clients later this month. So if you're interested in it, click on the link below to fill out our client application. You don't, just because you want to work with us doesn't mean you're actually going to work with us. We only want to take people on who are actually committed to their goals. So if you do today's podcast and you're like, shit, I need help. I'm really committed to this, but I need help. Yeah, go and sign up, fill out the application. And yeah, it's a little bit of an interview to make sure you're a good fit. I've turned people away. It's not like you fill that out and automatically I'm like, you're a good fit. Now I've turned a couple people away of like, hey, no, you need to do these things first, or you're not quite ready for coaching yet. You need to go and do this instead. Or you're not a good fit for our program. Here's a coach you're going to be a good fit for, because I'm not for everybody. Our team's not for everybody. So fill that out. If you want to follow me on any of the social media channels, or you want to join our free Facebook community where I do lives, kind of like this podcast, twice per week with my assistant coach, Lauren, who I did a interview with on episode 2. That is down below. But thanks for tuning in, guys. And if you want, make sure to go and give this episode 5 stars, leave a review. It helps more people find the show so we can get our message